Simple and Orient Express together.
I still dream about it.
No, it's still this morning. I was randomly like, remember our lavish outfits? Like, do you remember?
I remember feeling unlavish in my lavish. So, today we're going to be talking about reading on planes. Over the past year or so, I've had more and more trouble reading on planes because when you pick up a book, it's kind of like all of a sudden time stands still on a plane. I'm reading, I'm like, oh yeah, I've been reading forever. I must be getting close to the end of this flight. And I look up and 10 minutes have passed. I can't live this life.
It's like 10 hours left. I can't keep going.
No, it's true. It's true.
I don't know why this has started happening, but all planes have deleted their TVs. I don't know if this
Oh my god, they have it. They're
on
trying to
domestic
cut
flights,
costs.
they've been not having TVs. And like when I can't switch from reading to TV and there's nothing there, I'm just like, well, I'm gonna die here. So in conclusion, I found it very hard to read. My last flight, I did like an entire like 10-page analysis of Taylor Swift's album.
Wait,
like,
but for what? For
Just
you?
for a video.
Oh, okay.
No, well, to kill the time. But I also was going to film a video review, so it was helpful. So, do you guys read on planes?
Yes.
So let's start this off. Do you guys read on
So
planes?
here's the thing. I write more on planes. I have a journal that every single page in the journal I write what flight I'm on, and I've finished like a 250-page journal doing that.
You're writing like the Great American Journal novel.
Yeah, like I am writing the journal novel that will be printed hopefully one day in my lifetime. That's what I do to kill the time, and I know when it's been an hour when my hand starts giving out. Because I'll be like writing, and I'm like, oh cramp. And then I look up and I see, okay, an hour has gone. Let me take a break. There's no TV usually, so I'm like, I just sit there like this.
We have a joke that, yeah, it could be the shortest or longest flight, but every time we get on it, we're just complete vegetables, just like staring for 8 hours.
We'll look at each other and be like, hey.
No, for me, typically my flight time is my video editing time,
Ah.
but then sometimes your laptop dies. So
yes,
then,
you bring the charger to the light.
yeah, like,
But they're also removing the charger.
I swear, one time I was like this, and like my head got stuck, and the guys next to me were just like, what the hell is he doing?
It's like kind of on their side too.
No, you're like squeezing under their thighs.
So I kind of, when I'm reading on flights, I get insecure about the fact, like, if it's a night flight, I don't want to turn the light on. I was reading a magazine, and I'm like really trying to switch so not to like cause any
Causing
harm.
astigmatism,
Yeah.
like really ruining your
I didn't want
eyesight.
to. Everyone's trying to sleep. I don't want to turn the light on just for me.
You know what the trick is there? Before they turn the lights off of the cabin, you have to turn the light on.
Yeah,
that's true.
Because then the light's dim and,
And it's
nobody
already
sees
there.
you
Yeah.
like doing a dick move.
Everyone in the plane.
I always do it so slowly, but I'm like, I need to try to
Or
read.
you like cough, you're like, like get it really fast. And you can like angle it so that when the light, it's like a spotlight, it's like directly on your book.
Yeah, it's usually like that now. It's like pre-programmed to spotlight right on you.
But it is distracting. Like if you're trying to sleep and your neighbor has a light on, you're gonna feel it. That's why I have the eye shades.
Another thing that started happening, because I used to not be able to sleep on planes, but now like I've developed the superpower, because when you're on planes so much, you like, all
have
of a
no
sudden can
choice.
sleep.
I'm good at that.
Yeah, so, but now when I try to read, I'll just be like,
Mouth open.
like I'm done with this.
The book falls on the neighbor's lap, like they start reading the book, and it's fine.
Maybe it's also like the white noise of the plane that starts to like lull me to sleep.
Okay, here's a good fun fact. So I was reading on a plane and turbulence hit. All of a sudden, like
You can't read with
Good.
turbulence.
pages. I actually hate flying, which is the irony because I'm flying all the time. Like I probably take, I don't even know, like at least 6
Usually
flights a
flights.
month at least. And so when I'm on planes, Damon looks at me, he's like, "Damn, Joe, you're still nervous?" I'm like, "Yeah." Like
The
it's
smoothest
bad.
flight. So like,
Because I've been on smooth flights that all of a sudden, and this is what I'm talking about, I'll be reading, I'm like relaxed, the plane doesn't even feel like it's going anywhere because it's going so smooth, and then all of a sudden it's like, boom, 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 you're just like, oh my god!
Like that's when you're trying to concentrate on the book.
Like
distract
rip, yeah, I'm like really trying to concentrate, and I'm like, so what happens next? And then all you see are like the pages almost ripped out because
Oh
I'm
my
holding
God.
on. And then I start crying because not only am I fearing for my life, but the book might be emotional. Then I look like that girl who's crying on a plane.
Unstable.
Okay, I'm
Passenger.
always the girl crying on a plane. It could be just like a happy movie, and I'm like, this is so sweet. But I've been like that hysterical crying because I've read a good tip for reading on a plane if you want to be able to consistently read for 5 hours without feeling like you're like in no man's land is to read something you're really, really, really into. So I was doing that. And it was devastatingly beautiful, and I had no tissues, so it was just like snot. It came to the point where I had to be like,
like with the book, like, oh my god.
And I felt like
Snot
I can't imagine sitting next to the girl who's like.
No, but speaking of other passengers too, I feel like having a book and reading on a plane is a good like way to flirt with people because you could be like, oh, you haven't done that?
Do you guys speak? I don't speak on planes.
It's a good connector. You'll see a book, maybe somebody, and you'll be like, oh, what book is that? Where'd you pick it up? It's a good conversation
Damon's
starter.
never talked to anybody on a
But
plane.
I've never done it. I'm fake. I'm full of ideas.
No,
You do this all the time.
Yeah, no, he's literally never done it.
No,
We
I'm
just
like
filmed a
you.
video
I'm
of
like,
that.
what? Like, I don't speak English.
I wear a hood every time, and as soon as I sit down, I have the hood on.
The reason why I'm the queen of talking to people on planes is because I hate flying so much that in the event of unexpected turbulence, I need not only my seatbelt, but the person next to me's hand. So I always try to like butter them up. I'm like, hey, what's your name? You have fun flying, isn't it? And then like, if it gets really bad, I've asked strangers to hold my hand.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I've witnessed this.
And it's cute because I've met some really good people
That's
on
so
planes because
nice
of
that
it.
people do it. I'd be like, oh my god.
No, this one time that somebody like almost turned me down, it was so funny. I was coming down, so in LA it never rains, and of course I like had to fly in that day that it was like a ridiculous thunderstorm. The pilot's like, it's gonna be a little bumpy, which already makes me nervous. And I had not spoken to this girl in 5 hours of a flight. All of a sudden it gets really bad, and I'm like, hey, can you hold my hand? She's like, no, I don't need it. I'm like, it's for me. She like grabs my hand, and I'm like, and I'm gonna be a little clammy. And then like she literally didn't speak to me. Like the plane lands, we're okay, and I'm like, thank you. And then I just exit and don't make any more eye contact.
Bringing this back around to reading.
Yeah, okay.
Have you ever finished a book on a plane? Because when I finish a book, I read the whole thing on a plane. I have this like weird emotional connection to like everything I felt while I was reading it, but I find that like when I try to recall everything that happened, I don't remember it all.
But you know it
But
happened.
I know it happened on a plane, and I know I was like crying, I was happy, and it was amazing. But
Just
I'm
like blackout.
I just can't recall the details as much.
Well, I think it's because you're so busy not knowing if turbulence is going to hit. So your one head is in the book, and the other part of you is like, is this plane going to go down? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not like a controlled environment.
Your
where...
subconscious is like worried about the plane and not the
Not
the
the
emotional
actual
drama.
thing.
Well,
What's
it's
happening?
true, because if you're reading on a plane, it's to distract yourself. So, like, you're already going into the book knowing that it's not just for pleasure, it's, like, to kill the time.
See, or I feel like reading on a plane is good because it's like that one time that you don't have connectivity. Well, nowadays...
You're forced to read it to
so
do
it's like,
something.
well, yeah, this is finally some me time. I'm going to get into this book. But that has never happened to me.
I finished a book on a plane. It was Women Enters Left. It's a fiction. This is the one that Damon's like, you read? I'm like, yes.
Fiction?
No, it was really good. It was a good time passer. It felt like I was reading a movie. Because, you know, that's what
That's
books
a good book.
feel like.
Yeah.
But then after, I'm just like, oh my god, but like, how did the woman come up with this idea? And like, radium poisoning, that was a thing. And I'm like, trying to research, but I had no Wi-Fi, so I was just stuck there with a million
Like,
questions.
stuck in the 90s.
I hate that. You'd feel so disconnected, especially without the TV. How do you know what time it is if you like have your phone on?
Here's a tip. Put a timer on. You put your phone on airplane mode, and I always put a timer on because if there are no TVs, you can't see how much time is left.
I'm always nervous though that like my phone's gonna die when I get there and I need it. It's not gonna be there.
So you go in blind. You don't know the time.
I go in blind a lot. I just started using airplane mode and I used it on the way home and it was so nice to be like, oh, look at the
yeah.
time.
I can't imagine
I use
like
it
not
every time.
knowing because every minute is an eternity for me.
It is. Are there any weird other things that you guys do to pass the time on planes?
So here's the thing about editing on planes, and Damon and I bought privacy screens because of this, because we're editing all the time on planes, and like how
look over.
narcissistic do you look when your screen is like full screen your face?
Your face, yeah.
I've edited a couple times and it's always the worst because also you're like set up
Like
with
this.
your like
Your hard drive is like
your
around
hard
your neck.
You need the fucking hard drive extender cord too, so you can like lift and leave it down here. But you're like, and then they're like, I have to go to the bathroom, and I'm like, I just spent 10 years.
Like that hard drive is going to like export
That is so true.
prematurely. It's gonna corrupt my files. So anyways, editing on planes isn't my favorite, but it does pass the time very quickly.
It does. That is the #1 time passer, I feel like. Editing, you look up and it's been 3 hours.
And it's like you just moved like an audio file in the freaking file. It's so frustrating.
I like to listen to music and write the lyrics down. That's like a
Oh,
good way to use your
weird.
time. 'Cause then
Weird.
no, it's a good way. And then like when you're whatever in the club or whatever, you like look kind of cool because you know that.
Damon
you like
plans his life for the club opportunity.
While I was listening. I didn't
True.
Google that shit.
He does it for Instagram captions too.
Oh yeah, I write like clever Instagram captions in my notes, and then like when I don't know what the
goodness.
caption is, I'll be like, "That's why I prepared for this." It's smart. It's a smart
I
use of
spent
time.
my flight writing captions for the next 3 months.
It's not easy, alright?
No, but I do like to read books about the destination I'm going to. I think it's
That
such
is
a good
cool.
way.
Yeah,
But-
I think that's a great idea.
Like nonfiction stories.
That's something that I want to start doing when I go to somewhere new, because it really gets me so much more excited about
Yes.
going there. In Inferno, they go to Istanbul, and I was learning
Oof.
about all like the culture and history there, and I'm like, oh my god, I need to go right now.
It gives you so much more purpose,
Yeah.
I think, than just going in blind.
Yeah, you just appreciate, I think, everything you see more.
I'm like trying to go to the library right after this video.
I went this morning,
I'm
and then on
gonna
the way
go
back,
again.
I see Christine. Seriously.
Let's conclude this with like your tips for reading on planes. I think we just had a really good tip. Read about the place that you're going to. That's gonna get you way more excited and more appreciative.
Also, it's a good connector again because the people are also going to that location, so they may be locals, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, you know that place? Oh yeah, I'll show you a better place." And then you like already got
Oh
a
my
friend
god,
in the
you're
city.
like a
Again.
social butterfly.
He's never used this.
But I've never done. I'm full of ideas, but execution.
if you speak
Not
to,
his forte.
if you like to speak to people.
That may be a good tip for you.
Okay, another one is language books. So we have workbooks that we buy a lot if you're like going to study abroad in Paris, or if you're going to wherever, or even picking up like local slang. That's something we both do. We have a Paris
That's
and like
cool.
French workbook, so I'm like trying to do these exercises. So it kills the time.
Yeah, definitely. If you're going to someplace domestic and you're just looking to read your fiction novel and not fall asleep, I think a really great tip is to have a soundtrack that you think is going to go nicely with like the ambiance of the book and have that in your ears loaded up, because that's the one time I was able to like just solidly go through a book. So when I had the Civil Wars in my ears when I was reading I'll Give You the Sun, it was just amazing and it went together so well.
I've never done that.
Wait, hold on. Is it like a lecture or it's just
No,
classical
it's
music
just
or
no,
what?
it's not classical music. It's just an album, like a country album that had like a kind of somber feel.
But does
With
it have
lyrics?
words?
Oh yeah.
How do you
Oh
concentrate?
my god, that's like it occupies that part of my brain that wants to fly away and like.
See,
do
I'll get too
something
connected
else.
to the music.
I
and
know.
I'm just like,
He'll start writing down the lyrics and drop the book.
I can't help it. It's compulsive.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, I would listen to, when I do read at home, I listen to lo-fi hip-hop, like on Spotify. There's a playlist where it's like loungy, like hip-hop music. It depends what you're reading.
Yeah.
I have a tip for the whole light situation. Before the plane cabin lights go off, turn on your like reading light so that it doesn't look as bad when everybody's like nice and comfortable in the darkness and you turn on your light.
If you're gonna read a fiction book and you're determined to finish it over this one flight, make sure it's one that you think you're really gonna love. Like a highly anticipated release. That way you can push through those moments where you're like, I'm gonna die. It's been 2 minutes, but I feel like I've been here all my life.
The good books, get it
Yeah.
going. You know what? Another problem though, like imagine you have a book that's really good. This was my first time really finishing a really good book on a plane. I finished the book and I still had like 5 hours more of flight, and I'm like, no.
like, let's read it again.
Yeah, you know, and that's when I started like looking at like the crevices. I read about the author. I'm like, oh, Damon, she's from
always
Indiana.
Do you ever, when you're in the airport, do you ever pick up a book just like on a whim and read it?
Yeah. And sometimes they're winners, and sometimes I'm just like, no. I remember I got I Am Number 4 at an airport. Do you guys remember that movie? The movie was coming out, and I just really was like,
Which sucks. Like
Yeah.
they should have like must buy for flights because it will make the time go by. Like that should be a
Or
category.
like 3-hour reads, 5-hour
They
reads.
should have
They
like a
should.
section that was like, you can't put these down on a flight.
Like you will not get bored on your flight if you read
That's
these.
such a good idea.
I should just do a video of like, you will not get bored on your flight.
That's a good idea.
Anyway, this has been tips and tricks and stories for reading on the plane. We made a video on Damon and Jo's channel. What do?
We did the books that changed our lives. Game changer books.
Like those ones that really like mark your
Yeah,
life.
the game changers. That's it for today. I'm Christine.
I'm Damon.
And I'm Jo.
And we'll see you next